Devar Trust again. I'd like to talk about a brief history of the Khazars, the Ashkenazis, and a race of people that converted to Judaism against their brothers that were Islamic, that were Muslims, because they did not want to be in a war with Catholics or Christians, Orthodox Christians. So the Khazar king, King Bulan, B-U-L-A-N, King Bulan, he decided to use wisdom and approach the Muslim king, sultan, or leaders of Islam. And he asked them, would you rather be a Jew or a Catholic? Jew or a Christian? And the Muslims, Islamic leaders said, well, we would rather be Jews than to be Catholic or a Christian. So King Bulan went to the Christian kings, Catholic kings, and asked them the same question. Would you rather be Jewish or Islamic? Jewish or Muslim? And said, we would much rather be a Jew than a Muslim. So King Bulan made his nation Judaism, Judah, which they're a Yiddish, it's a little difficult to understand, but they converted and became Yiddish. They didn't really become Hebrew because they weren't Hebrew, but they hired the Ashkenazi Khazars. They hired, people that are experts in religion, Judaism, and they hired them to come and teach them Judaism. And so they converted as a nation. Sort of like what Constantine did to the Romans. He changed everybody's religion from pagan Rome to Catholicism, a form of Christianity, a universal Christianity. Well, King Bulan did the same thing. He said, I know what I can do. I can do this. And through the generations of these convert Jews or Yiddish people, they've formed societies and secret societies, and they're eliminated. And they move through socialism, communism, and Zionism, and Marxism. And they really don't believe in God. The Khazars' belief system before they changed to Judaism was Dracoism. They worshipped Drako, Drako, which is the devil. I mean, that was their god, was the devil. The snake on the pole. And Khazars are Turks. They are considered a northern Turkish people from in between Crimea and the Caucasus, where we get the word Caucasian, the Caucasus Mountains, the White Mountains. So from Armenia, eastern Turkey, all the way up to where Russia, Eastern Europe / Russia, they were all around the sea there. I think that's the Black Sea. I can't remember. I don't have a map in front of me, sorry. But these people were looked at really negatively after that by the other Turks, which were Islamic. And they were really, really upset with this backstabbing, is how they looked at it. So there's a great amount of animosity there. And through the ages, from King Bulan to now, Jews have, in the higher echelons of secret societies and global elite and bankers and all that, not the common Jewish person, talking about the rich high societies, they have evolved over time to come up with an idea to steal Jacob's birthright, Israel's birthright, the tribe of Judah's birthright. They claim to be the tribe of Judah, but the Ashkenazi Jew are not. Now there's Sephardic Jew and there's other types of Jew, and they may have a little bit more legitimacy than the Ashkenazi Khazars, but not much more probably. I tell you that story so I can tell you the story about what's happening today. Zionism, atheists, Zionist, socialist, and communist. They all have a satanic background in Drako. And what I'm about to read to you is the 9th chapter of Apocalypse of Daniel. And it's about the Antichrist. And it describes that he is going to be quiet, gentle, and guileless. Without guile, very gentle, very quiet. And his name will be Judah or Judas. Judas. With him reigning, the Antichrist will go forth from the lower regions and the chasms of Hades, and he will come into a small Garidian fish, and he is coming in the broad sea, and he will be caught by 12 fishermen, and the fishermen will become maddened toward each other. One will prevail over them, one whose name is Judas, and he takes that fish for his inheritance and comes into a place named Guzeth, and there sells the fish for 30 silver pieces. And a virgin girl from her, and there sells the fish for 30 silver pieces. And a virgin girl will buy that fish. Her name is Injustice, because the son of Injustice will be born. The son and the The son of injustice will be born from her, and her surname will be perdition. For by touching the head of the fish, she will become pregnant. Okay, I'm not making this up, I'm reading this. So it sounds like I'm making up a bunch of mumbo, but just please listen. For by touching the head of the fish, she will become pregnant and will conceive the Antichrist himself. And this does sound like the story about Jesus. So just bear with it. For by touching the head of the fish, she will become pregnant and will conceive the Antichrist. And he will be born from her after 3 months. And he will suckle from her for 4 months. He comes into Jerusalem and becomes a false teacher. And he will appear quiet and gentle and guileless. The height of his stature will be 15 feet. The hairs of his head will reach as far as his feet. And he will be large and 3-crested. And the track of his feet will be large. His eyes will be like the stars which rises in the morning, and his right eye will be like a lion's eye. His lower teeth will be like iron, and his lower jaw like a diamond. His right arm will be iron, and his left arm copper, and his right hand will be 4.5 feet long. He will be long-faced, long-nosed, and disorderly. And he also has upon his forehead 3 letters, AKT. And an A signifies I deny, and the K is I completely reject, and the T, the befouled dragon. And the Antichrist will be teaching and being taught. So the Antichrist will be teaching and be taught. Today, there is a person that is teaching and to be taught. He's a rabbi. His name is Yanuka. His name is Judah. And Judas and Judah are the same name. One just ends with an S, the other one doesn't. He comes out of Jerusalem. He's going to be like the Christ, the Messiah. And I like using the word Christ because it's short for Christos, which was like the sun god. Anyway, the anti-Messiah. When you read these things, they kind of blow you away. Like, what? This sounds like a dragon. Something with a hand that's 4 foot long. I mean, that's a dragon. So, Samael is a fallen angel. And he is a dragon. So when this is being described, there's a person inside a human body, and that person is a devil, the devil. The Khazars have stolen the Ashkenazis and the Jewish people at the top, not the middle and the bottom. They have stolen the birthright and the land through claiming to be Jewish by blood, that they're the tribe of Judah by blood, and they are not. They are converts. They are saying that they are tribe of Judah, but they are converts. And there becomes someone up in Jerusalem. He comes into Jerusalem, and he's a false teacher. And he will be quiet and gentle and guileless. He'll be gentle as a lamb. He won't be a dragon in his appearance. But the dragon is inside of him. Yes, he doesn't have all the descriptions, like he doesn't have leprous spots on the back of his hands. There's some other things. He does not fit the description of a balding man. He's always got a hat on, so I can't tell if he's bald. With a tuft of gray in the front. He could have all of that, but he's always got a hat on his head where I can't see. But maybe he'll start doing more miracles than he has. But these books are to help us find the book of Apocalypse of Daniel and Apocalypse of Elijah right beside each other. And they both argue or invest time in or investigate who the Antichrist is. And so we should be doing the same. If they did it back then, how far closer are we now than they were? A whole lot closer. So please know that the befouled dragon or Drako is inside. Samael, the devil, is inside of a person that is filled with gentleness, quietness. Seems like a miracle worker, very calm and a beautiful person. Oh, and he can sing, and he's got the most magnificent prayers, and he even plays the piano. Oh, don't be wooed by someone who, whether it's a televangelist that woos you, makes your ears all fuzzy. Oh, I just love what he says. It makes me warm and fuzzy. Whatever. You gotta constantly be combing the scripture so that the voice of God comes down inside of your mind as you're reading that scripture and goes boom, 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 boom. And in your conscience and your imagination, you can see that a person is the devil. Open up your minds, your imagination, and your conscience together. That's where Yahweh speaks to you. In the night vision, your conscience isn't going to be working in your night vision, but your imagination is. That's how Yahweh speaks to us. In our night visions, our conscience isn't so much there. We're unconscious, I guess. The subconscious is there. And we have visions, and they puzzle us, but sometimes they're a wonderful way of telling us something. And then we're walking around the next day or the next month or year or whatever. We're remembering that dream, and all of a sudden there's this confirmation that comes in our conscience from something that somebody said or we read. And it's, wow, that confirms that. Okay, conscience, subconscious. In our mind, we have imagination and our conscience. Conscience, am I doing right? Am I doing wrong? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem wrong. And in our subconscious, we have these video messages from Yahweh. if you have too much caffeine and you put your cell phone right beside your head at night, you could be having dreams because of signals from your gut and from your cell phone. But if you don't have a bunch of sugar and caffeine in your body and your cell phone is in the other room, there's no weird signals being transformed into your brain, then Yahweh can speak to you in your imagination while you're dreaming at night. You can have day visions too. Some people have they're called daydreamers. And there's not much difference between a daydream and a day vision. Not much. And if you're known as a child to be daydreaming a lot, then there's a possibility that Yahweh can speak to you while you're wide awake. Can. Khazars stole the promised land. They evolved into a Jewish cabal, Masonic cabal, Freemasonry, Marxism, Zionism, communism, Kabbalahism, secret societyism. And secret societies rule the world with who? Drako, the dragon. And Drako the dragon is going to be inside of a human being. And I say a candidate for this human being is Yanuka. Or not, how do you say it? Yanuka, not Zanuka, sorry. Yanuka. Yanuka. And when you watch this guy's video of him, or he's got his own YouTube channel now, or somebody made a YouTube channel for him. He seems like the sweetest guy in the whole world. But if he has something like Azazel or Samael, a fallen angel, literally inside of him, the dragon is literally inside of him. It's just an act. He's putting on a show. He's waiting for the right time, and he's going to jump out of his skin. Goes on to talk about what the Antichrist does. And he attacks the Christian race. And the Antichrist will boast, saying to the Jews, "Do not be grieved. A little while and the Christian race will see and realize who I am." And the Antichrist lifts up his voice toward the flinty rock, saying, "Become bread before the Jews." And disobeying him, the rock becomes a snake or a dragon. And the dragon says to the Antichrist, "O you who are full of every iniquity and injustice, why do you do things which you are not able?" And the dragon shames him before the Jews. So even a creature, I think that's talking about a snake or like a monitor lizard, not a fire-breathing dragon. But even little signs and little hints will jump out and tell us things. And you know, in some of these books, if you don't have any imagination at all, they're helpful. But if you've got some or a little bit of imagination, they're very helpful. And you have to have an open mind when you read certain books. And I understand you want to guard your mind. You don't want to just push anything into it. So I say pray before and after you read the Apocalypse of Daniel. Samael could be inside this guy named Yanuka, Shlomo Yehuda. And Yehuda is the long form of Judah and Judas. So if this person is like the Judas Iscariot, betraying with a kiss, then beware. Be warned. Peace be to you and blessings.